I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I don't need anybody's money. I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using donors. I don't care. I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second. And by the way, I'm not even saying that in a brag. That's the kind of mindset, that's the kind of thinking you need for this country.
You might be right, too. The American voter has for too long been slapped around and abused by greedy politicians who are in it for the fame and fortune, more concerned with how to use the average worker as a stepping stone to a new yacht or a fat consulting deal after serving. So what happens when you have someone running for president who doesn't need your money, doesn't take bribes from lobbyists, and has no need to fund hair transplants? You crank up the political animal, let the wind take your quaff into the unknown. He's always right, Republican strategist Ford O'Connell. He's never left out, Democratic strategist J.D. Gins. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. And I'll tell you what, Ford, I'm going to start with you on this one. Donald Trump is worth billions of dollars. You can't buy the man. That might be exactly what America needs right now.
Well, absolutely. He's so rich, he's able to flip the script. He says, I've got $10 billion, and therefore I can't be bought by special interests, and therefore I'm going to fight for the American people. And guess what? It's actually resonating. At this point, basically 6 in 10 Republican primary voters now have a favorable view of him.
J.D., I got to tell you, and it comes down to the whole money here. When you look at all this, and we'll talk about some of the other candidates here in a moment, but it's just the fact. Isn't it fair to say that we as a public, we as a voting public, have just been scammed for so long by politicians? Isn't it just possible, maybe, that this is the guy who doesn't need to be bought, and eventually he'll be able to just kind of sneak through all the rest of it and say, I'm your honest guy? I don't believe I'm saying it, but what the heck, go for it.
Well, you know, I can agree with you that there's too much money in politics, but I get away from you when we think that corporations are people and that we should have unlimited spending in our elections. Trump Corporation is paying for his election, and he is the definition of a corporate interest. You know, I'd like to see more public financing in our elections. I'd like to see less money spent in elections. Now, I know that it scares the Republicans that he doesn't have to take lobbyist money, and he gets to say whatever he wants, and that's pretty entertaining. But he is just a corporate interest wrapped up in a candidate, and, you know, it's working for him. But I'd like to see less money in our election.
But wait a minute, is he just a corporate interest, though? There you go. I knew that was going to
Hillary Clinton's taking money from the fat cats left and right. The problem is money in politics. This is not a right and left debate, okay? This is the deal. We need to start working for the American people, and right now you're trying to slam Donald Trump, who's actually speaking honestly. This is a farce.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to something else which may indeed be farcical to some people. John McCain, whom you know very well, Ford, as a matter of fact, I thought he made a great statement when he said Donald Trump fired up the crazies in his state when he held a rally in Phoenix last weekend, saying this performance with our friend out in Phoenix is hurtful to me because what he did was fire up the crazies. It's very bad. All right, Jay, you first, Ford. I'll let you throw in on this one first of all. Did he get it right on the crazies?
Well, no, John didn't get it right. Here's the deal. Donald Trump brings an energy to the Republican Party I haven't seen in 2 presidential cycles. He's basically out there fighting and talking about the issues they care about, whether it's illegal immigration, China, or trade. Let me say this to John, who I have great respect for, and that is, put a sock in it, okay? Let's wait till the August 6th debates, and after the August 6th debates, then we can reassess the situation, because right now, Trump is driving the news cycle rather than the news cycle driving Trump, and guess what? That's refreshing.
I agree with that indeed. J.D., to you then, I guess, is John McCain here in some ways then the Democrats' best friend if he says these things about Donald Trump?
As a former Obama staffer during the 2008 campaign, I could never believe I was going to say this, but the Republicans should be listening to John McCain. If you follow Donald Trump down this rabbit hole, you're going to open up the middle for the Democratic Party in a big way. And, you know, for me, that's not a problem. Go ahead, Republicans. Go so far right that you can't ever find the middle again. But John McCain has had a rough go with the right wing of the right-wing party. He really knows out there that this is a sensible, he knows out there that sensible immigration reform is something the Republicans have to be able to talk about if they ever want to have a hope at winning the White House.
J.D., what crazy thing has Donald Trump said? He said a lot of things in crazy ways, but outside of illegal immigration, he's talking about blocking trade. He's talking about strengthening Social Security. He's even sometimes talked about universal health care. You are basically propaganda peddling right now because you have nothing to say with Hillary Clinton because all she's saying is, I'm Hillary Clinton and I'm running for president, and therefore you should vote for me.
No, come on, Ford. You're a Republican strategist. You know he's been catapulted to the front of the pack because of his rhetoric on immigration. not because of what he's talking about with trade. And then once people hear about his healthcare views, he might lose the momentum. But he is at the front of the Republican pack right now because he's beating up on illegal immigration. He's using those talking points, and he's riding that wave. So give me a break.
All right.
John McCain knows we need sensible immigration reform.
He's not actually using those talking points. I think you've missed a few things here. We had the little situation in San Francisco, okay? That caused a lot of problems. We have other deaths around the country. We have 347,000 criminal aliens running free. I would say that the news cycle fell in Donald Trump's lap, and he's now taking advantage of it.
60 seconds, gentlemen. Here we go. J.D., to you first. Let's go ahead and talk some money here. Bobby Jindal's raised about $600,000. Jeb Bush has already raised about $114 million. Don't you think it's already time that maybe we're getting down to thinning out the herd here a little bit?
Forget about it. A lot of these Republicans got to go. But it says a lot about the overall weakness of the Republican field, that even with $100 million, 15 people still think they should be running against Jeb Bush. There's not a strong person in the Republican field right now, so Bobby Jindal gets to say, but he probably should be thinking about going.
I don't know, Ford. I'm going to throw it to you. I don't think it says anything about weakness here. You got a lot of people that a lot of folks are listening to.
No, you're absolutely right. It says nothing about the weakness, but it is a sign, unfortunately, moving forward, that money's driving in politics, and if you can't get the money, it's going to be real hard to get the votes for the nomination.
Here we go, kids. More money, and we're going to keep every single day talking about a few more bucks that's in here because it's all that fun and games. J.D. Gins, Ford O'Connell. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again real soon. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Donald Trump one more time. Still rising in the polls. So does he get your vote? Hey, we've talked about some of the things he said that seem to be right on target. If not, who is your choice then for the GOP 2016 nominee? Go to newsmaxpolls.com and vote now and tell us who that choice is and talk to us about the Donald. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes of news, The Hard Line, continues.